just look around. We're seeing this mixture of temple folks, and sometimes one Tifereth person is sitting next to a Fairmount person and vice versa. And I don't see there's like blocks, so that's good. It's not like a big block. It's pretty remarkable that we're here today at this moment, and it really deserves a Shechianu. I want to take this moment too because I don't know everybody here, and neither do all of us. And so I want to take this moment and acknowledge that I am Rabbi Josh Caruso of Anshe Chesed Fairmount Temple. I'm here with my dear colleagues, Cantor Vladimir Lappin and Rabbi Yael Dadun. At the Oneg, we'll be around for a little bit. And if you have not met us, I really invite you to take the time to just, come up to us and identify yourself and let us know that who you are and where you're from and all that good stuff, because we really want to know you, and we know that's, as this growing relationship continues, it's going to take time to know each other. So we really invite you to be proactive, and we're excited about continuing to build these relationships. In our Torah portion this week, Toldot, we are introduced to the biblical Isaac in adulthood. God promises Isaac all that his father Abraham was given. And just like his dad, Isaac became quite wealthy in the land of the Philistines. So wealthy, in fact, that the Philistines feel envy and seek to sabotage an important source of life to Isaac and his herdsmen. They wish to sabotage the wells of water wells. We get a glimpse into the world of the ancient Near East when our biblical fathers and mothers sought survival and nourishment from water wells. In Hebrew, be'erot. In one Torah commentary, it says, the digging of wells or cisterns, usually in the dry beds of rivers, streams, and brooks, was essential to the survival of the sheep herders and to the cattle farmers, a world that most of us are truly not familiar with if we're not in the agricultural game. But after the winter floods would silt them up, they would have to be cleaned out, those wells, every season. As a result of their jealousy of Isaac and his resources, the Philistines spitefully refilled the wells with dirt. The affront sabotaged the Abrahamic family line, endangering the well-being of their ability to sustain their lives. And in a counter move, our text tells us that Isaac dug anew wells, which had been dug in the days of his father Abraham, and which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham's death. And he gave them the same names his father had given them. We learn that Isaac and his herdsmen dug up 3 new wells. The first 2 were called Esek and Sitna, both words connoting conflict, dispute, contention. As we read our ancient Torah portion at this fraught time for the Jewish people, I cannot help but think about the conflicts, disputes, and contentions we are experiencing right now with those who seek to destroy us in Gaza, to proverbially fill our wells, stop our sustenance, stop our ability to live. As we know all too well, on October 7th, Hamas terrorists breached the border separating Gaza and Israel and massacred over 1,200 innocents. Many kibbutzim were attacked in a way that reminds us of the Russian pogroms initiated over 100 years ago. One of those settlements, coincidentally named after a well, was Kibbutz Be'eri. Kibbutz Be'eri, kibbutz my well, lost 10% of its population of 1,200. When my colleague, Rabbi Angela Warnick-Bachdahl, visited Israel just 2 weeks ago, she met with survivors and family members of Kibbutz Be'eri, and she learned that since the war began, many new Israeli parents are naming their children, you guessed it, Be'eri, my well, my sustenance, my life. It is this resilience that will surely see Israel through these times, as the children born will one day be able to nurture and sustain the families of which they create and are a part. It is our children, many who don't know it yet, who will inherit the trauma and pain of our collective Jewish trials. And God willing, they will also be the ones who plant seeds of peace, open up wells, cultivate expansive worlds of understanding, brimming wells of nourishment. And right here in Cleveland, just weeks ago, I was blessed to welcome a beautiful baby into the Jewish covenant. This is definitely a perk of the job. This little girl's name? Kalina Hirsch. Kalina was not named after a beloved family member, nor is Kalina an inherently Jewish name. But the story of this name speaks to the resilience of the Jewish people and their quest to live. There was a man named Antonin Kalina, who was born in the former Czech Republic and was ultimately detained at Buchenwald, a Nazi concentration camp during World War II in Germany. Kalina was not Jewish, but he was imprisoned in the camp for being a communist. In time, Kalina rose in position at Kinderblock 66 to be an advocate for young boys to spare them their hard work and physical abuse that was imposed on them by the Nazis. There were some people, as you know, who were able to sort of be in charge at those levels, even though they themselves were held captive. Kalina got these boys better blankets during those cold nights. He found them additional food when they just didn't have enough to eat. And he ultimately falsified their papers and made them hide their yellow Jewish star badges so they wouldn't be killed. One day, just before the Allies came to end Hitler's reign, the Nazis arrived to Block 66, and they called for all of the Jewish boys in Kalina's block to step out of line. Surely, they were about to be killed. But Antonin Kalina instructed the boys not to comply. Kalina told the Nazi commander, "There are no Jews in this block." Due to his bravery, on July 3rd, 2012, Antonin Kalina was recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations. This story doesn't end here. Today, one of those teens who was saved by Antonin Kalina in 1945, his name is Albert Hirsch. He is now 95 years old. He is alive and well here in Northeast Ohio. And on November 5th, Albert Hirsch got to welcome his great-granddaughter, Kalina Hirsch, into the Jewish covenant. And I had the privilege of being the presiding rabbi of her naming. Kalina's parents, in tribute and reverence for Albert, chose to name their daughter after the hero who saved their family line. After the naming ceremony, as Albert sat in a seat holding little Kalina, I had to get a picture with him, which I did. When he was holding little Kalina, I could not help but think about the beautiful babies who have been compromised by this war, the babies who are compromised in front of their parents, and even the baby who just days ago was born in the tunnels of Gaza after the mother was abducted late in her pregnancy. As I was looking at Kalina and her great-grandfather, I could not help but think about the babies of Kibbutz Be'eri and those who have not been given the name, now have been given the name, Be'eri, my well, my life, my sustenance. All these babies born after October 7th, a living example of the Israeli spirit. Babies who will comfort and provide hope and life to bring to a grieving nation. Earlier, I mentioned that Isaac dug 3 new wells, but if you were listening, I only talked about 2 of them. The first 2 were named Esek and Sitna, evoking conflict, war, and struggle. But the 3rd well was given an entirely different name. It was called Rehovot. Rehovot. It said that Isaac named it Rehovot because there was no more struggle and conflict. Rehovot means expansiveness. Because Isaac's herdsmen and the Philistines did not quarrel over it, there was enough land for all. So as we think about Rehovot, the expansiveness, as we open our hearts to those who are in pain and grief in Israel, and those who are in pain and grief in Gaza, let us continue to expand our love, expand our empathy, expand our compassion for all those who are impacted by this war, who are innocents, who didn't ask for any of this. May we know a time when war and conflict gives way to Rehovot, to expansiveness of beliefs, expansiveness of understanding, expansiveness of love. Amen.